every year. Town of Colonial Beach Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission to order. My name is Karen Grisovich. This is,
Steve Kennedy. Cody Christensen.
so three of us are here in attendance.
Can you speak into your mic, please?
Sorry about that.
I just saw where it was off. Thank you.
Oh, mom's off too. Do we have any additions to our agenda at this point? No? Okay. So I would like the agenda to be approved, please.
I make a motion that the agenda be approved.
I second the motion.
Okay, the agenda is approved.
Are you sure? If you want to change route number 7,
Oh,
that would be.
okay, I apologize. Yes, we would like to add, we would like to change the citizen input number 7 to number 6 and make new business number 7.
Now you have to have a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
I second the motion.
Okay? Steve, do you want to do number 5? Number 5.
You want me to do that?
You need to vote on your motion and second.
There's only three.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. And for those of you who do not know, we now have a new Director of Parks and Recreation, and I'd like to introduce him, Mr. Bobby Duke. Mr. Duke is a hometown boy, been around for a long time. He has been employed by the town once before, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Yes, as the treasurer.
Many moons ago.
Yes, and we are still here, so he must have done a good job. So
Thanks, Steve.
with that, would you like to have an opening remark?
Please, if you don't mind, I just wanted to take a few moments to introduce myself and thank you to all of you for being here tonight and let me say a few words. Mainly, thank you to those of you who are willing to serve and be active on this commission. It's great to see. It's long overdue. Again, for those who don't know me, my name is Bobby Duke. I was born and raised here in Colonial Beach, having spent 35 of the last 40 some years. I'm not going to give away how old I am, but and I was recently hired, obviously, to be the director of the new Parks and Rec Department. Absolutely thrilled to be a part of this. These are pretty exciting times for the town, specific to the Parks and Rec Department. As Mr. Allison and others can attest to who have lived here the majority of their lives, we did not have anything like this growing up as kids. So this is just a really exciting thing. Right now, we're basically building this department from the ground up. The people of Colonial Beach and our visitors deserve a thriving Parks and Rec Department that maximizes the beauty of our riverfront town and offers recreational opportunities for folks to enjoy these resources. I got started last Monday and kind of jumped right in immediately. I've made a lot of connections thus far. I've spoken to Mr. Allison and several members of the council and the mayor, made connections with some of the regional Parks and Rec folks, did a tour of some of the Northern Neck parks and recreational facilities last week, dove into some budgetary items and plenty of grant opportunities which we can discuss as we move further into this process. Already have a tentatively scheduled event to be held at Torrey Smith Rec Park later this summer through one of our volunteer organizations. So that's kind of what we're ramping up to. It's my main job basically to make sure that our existing parks and recreational facilities are clean, well-maintained, and safe in a COVID world, hopefully post-COVID world. We need to ensure that families and visitors, full-time residents enjoy all the parks that we have to offer. and maybe offer them more opportunities in the future. It's also part of my job that the folks that live near our parks and rec facilities have their concerns addressed as well. We're unique in the sense that Torrey Smith Park, for example, is plopped right down in the middle of a neighborhood. That's something I haven't seen in any of the parks and rec facilities that I have been to, at least in the more rural areas. They have actually a parks and rec center, if you will, kind of away from neighborhoods, but bigger cities, you see them in Fredericksburg, for example, but Torrey Smith is unique. That sits right in the middle of that neighborhood. Another aspect of my job is to work with you folks and the NGOs and volunteer organizations that have just tirelessly given to the town of Colonial Beach. And I've already told, I spoke to Susan Mack and I said, I'm going to be asking you for man and woman power and volunteer hours, regardless of, what events we're having. And she seemed pretty agreeable to that. So, and again, it's part of my job to at least play a small part into some of the future projects that we may have. We've talked about above 12th Street, for instance, being an underserved part of the town when it comes to parks and places for kids to play. And I'm sure there have been ideas bandied about having something up there. So hopefully I'd like to be a part of that when it actually happens. I don't have an office yet. We're kind of working on where I'm going to be sitting. But I have and will continue to make my email and phone number available to anyone in town who has questions, comments, or suggestions. As a department head, I'm responsive to the needs of the town's people. And if you call me or email me, I'm going to respond and do it pretty quickly. There's real or imagined, there's an idea out there that town officials don't respond to the needs of the citizenry. So if someone calls me, they're going to get a phone call right back. So again, thanks to the members of the commission for letting me speak for a few minutes, and I'm going to be at all these meetings if you guys allow it, just to fill you in on what's going on. So thanks.
Thanks, Bobby. And I gotta say, thank you. This is all new to all of us. This commission, we're kind of learning as we grow, so to speak. And we're going to be leaning on each other quite a bit. And we're going to look to you for guidance and exactly what the expectations are going forward. And we're here to serve the town. And hopefully we do that in a with clarity and with a clear vision about what the needs of this town are.
I agree. And I think the comments and suggestions that we get from this working commission are going to go a long way in taking it back to council through the town administration to actually see that it happens.
Absolutely. And the comments we get from the public and their desires. And that's what it's all about. As Karen and I were talking today, and exactly who our customers are. They're every citizen in this town. Whether they're crawling on their hands and knees and just trying to get their feet about them, or they are older and need special things for them. We need to take care of everybody. And I think that's what this is all about. The other new member we have, and if you don't mind me, we'll go ahead and introduce him.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's due to two roles here. Number one, he's going to be dealing with us. And the second, he is our newest town council member, and that's Mr. Kenneth Allison. He will be the liaison between this group and the council as we go forward with this group. Is there anything, Kenny, you'd like to say?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to meet with y'all. As Bobby said, and probably just about everybody knows, I'm from here. I've lived here my whole life. You've seen my last name in pretty much every hardwood floor company in town. So, but no, I agree. We definitely have needed a Parks and Rec of some sort forever. And giving the kids and even the elderly or whoever else that needs the exercise and the ability to have green space and all that kind of stuff is very much needed. So I look forward to working with y'all and working with town council and everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
once again, these are two gentlemen who have been here a long, long time. And they know what the needs are. They've seen what they had before. And they see the growth possibilities and all the possibilities we have. I think they're going to be a tremendous asset to this town. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Okay, so we moved citizen input up. First, we have Greg Hewitt.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You come on up. Come on up to the.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Is this on? Does it matter?
Yeah, it's on.
Bobby, thanks. Nice to meet you. Congratulations and welcome to your new role.
Thank you.
My name is Greg Hewitt. We are launching a tourism app in the Northern Neck, been in communications with the mayor. She forwarded my information to Bobby and invited us tonight to present. I've got a deck, but I can just tell you what we're doing, if that's good enough. Absolutely. I'm from Hague, Virginia, and about a year and a half ago, we launched a tourism business to bring manufactured adventure tourism within the Northern Neck. We met with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, and it was a meeting they had in Warsaw to update us on all the state's activities. And we followed their guidelines on what you need to bring to an area like the Northern Neck to manufacture adventure tourism. So we partnered with an off-road vehicle course in Hague, Virginia. That is become the first course in Virginia to get certified by the National Off-Highway Vehicle Conservation Council. I'm sorry, I'm not used to speaking with the mask on. Normally I'm on a Zoom call, so this is challenging. So we met with, we've also partnered with Lake Marshall Disc Golf, and that's in Montrose as well. So with those items falling with manufactured adventure tourism, we decided to develop an app. The name of our organization is called Naked Neck Adventures. Naked Neck is the name of a famous chicken, not what you might be thinking, and it is our mascot. So Naked Neck Adventures is launching in what we're calling the Tri-County area of Callio, Warsaw, and Montrose at the end of April. And we will be aggregating all the goods and services available to guests that come to that area in about 6 or 8 different categories: dining, carry out, wineries and breweries, history museums, etc., as well as the outdoor adventures that we're bringing to market, including renting kayaks. And we're not Colonial Beach in the Tri-County area of what we're calling it, right? So having access to a lot of different activities, it's spread out. Now, we have decided that we are going to expand our app to Colonial Beach, and we're going to do that in July. So we've already got the listings made up of all of the categories. What we're doing is, if I don't mind, I'm going to show you how we're going to find it. If you don't mind, I'm just going to hand out my card. Is that appropriate to be like this? I don't know.
Well, normally we only allow 3 minutes, but
Oh, no,
I don't think,
you keep going. Sorry.
I don't think we told you that, so.
No, that's quite right. So we're sitting on a box, all of our community partners. We've got about 100 in the Tri-County area. It's got a gift inside. It's announcing that the app is coming. Anybody can go onto the app once it goes live and opt out. So if you're a business and you don't want to be associated, that's perfectly fine as well. Leah's our community manager, and she's going to be managing all of those listings. The idea of having all these things aggregated in one spot is that we can talk about the importance of visiting our community partners, why we like this restaurant, why we like to do these different activities, so that we're putting a spin on it versus just going and doing a Google search or a Yelp search. Now, the other component to the app that's very important is the events calendar. And this will be a very dynamic calendar that we'll be able to aggregate all the activities going on in the area and list it into one place. This is a free app. We are building some reselling services with some of our community partners as part of our tourism organization, but it's going to be completely free to the public and our community partners.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm just going to leave my cards up here.
That'd be fine.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I have one other request. When we launch in July in Colonial Beach, we would like to do an event. And we're partnering with a group out of Washington, D.C. called DC Wheels. And they bring skateboard parks to rural communities. So they come and do a skateboard clinic. We like July because this will be the first time the Summer Olympics has skateboarding as an Olympic sport.
Okay.
So we're interested in understanding how we can accomplish that.
That'd be something we'd like to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Lee Henderson.
Leah.
Lee, I'm sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
Hey, Bobby, nice to meet you. Thanks so much.
Eric,
I didn't sign up. Can I make a comment?
certainly.
Sure.
My name's Eric Nelson. I think I know most of you. I'm the president of the Colonial Beach Community Foundation, and that's actually what I want to make some comments about the role of the foundation. And I just wanted to offer our support in the Parks and Rec area in Colonial Beach in terms of helping the commission and also in terms of helping the director of the Parks and Rec department. And one of the things that we do very well is we raise funds, so we are looking to support whatever activities that the commission and the department is looking to do, particularly in terms of raising funds from the community. So whether that be raising funds for park benches or in other ways where we stand ready to help you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Okay, new business. Again, as Steve has said, and Cody and I have all discussed, this is all very brand new for all of us. And,
We're gonna need Bob's attention here in a minute.
and I think before we get into some of the bylaws and the work that we need to work on, and we just need some clarification. And we have, the three of us have discussed our roles and just have some questions about that. So while, I guess,
Bobby? We're gonna need your help.
I'm so sorry. I was apologizing to these folks.
again, we understand, and, Patrick, and I have been working on this commission for the past 2 years or longer now, and we understand how important it is, and also understand that we are a branch of the Colonial Beach government and here for the entire town. All of us are very busy people and are very passionate about this mission and moving this commission forward. Our concern is that we kind of feel like we are the blind not being led anywhere, and are concerned that we're not being informed of certain things that are going on or happening, and it's no fault of anyone's, that we want to do right by the town and we want to do the right thing, but for the past month especially, we just totally feel like we've had no direction. And I don't want to speak for you all, so I think we had come up with some questions
Absolutely.
today, just to clarify things as we move forward.
This commission was supposed to have started off back in January, and for a number of reasons, it didn't do that. So we had our first meeting last month, and thank God for Heather and putting that together and kind of leading us to this table and getting it started. But we really don't know totally what the expectations of this commission is, and we need that. As of any group, we need, it's just like children or anything else, we need to be shown what we're supposed to be doing. Now, I can read this and objectives for the Colonial Beach Parks and Recreation Advisory Commission is hereby established with the objective to advise, recommend development of policies, funding, and programs. What does all that mean? So I guess what we're saying is it's got to come from the top. And we need the guidance of you and the council as to exactly what our next steps are going to be. I can come up with guidelines for anything, but I need to know what those anythings are. Are we talking about an individual? Are we talking about setting back that policy to pass on to you for the use of a given, all of our parks? And guidelines that we're gonna set down that are gonna be adhered to by our general public? Or how we gonna, I guess what I'm saying is that we really are a little foggy in exactly what this approach is supposed to be. Does that make sense? Okay. And we need that.
And I think part of it internally is we're becoming semi-frustrated with the fact that we want to do the right thing by the town. But at this point, we're not even sure what, Bobby, your job description even is, or what responsibilities that entails. You know, we're kind of unclear about what our role with Kenneth is supposed to be now in regard to some of these things. So I guess we would just like a little bit of clarification and try and find some sort of balance as we move forward. Because we are all really passionate about this and excited about it.
Like I said, if we weren't, we wouldn't be saying that.
Correct.
But, and we're not trying to muck the whole thing up. We're trying to unmuck it. I sat on town council for 6 years, and it just for 6 years, and I understood what my role as a council member was, the same way you guys. Oh, you're still learning. I
I need another week.
And there's guidelines and there's certain protocol. We don't maybe understand totally what the protocol is here and what direction we're supposed to be heading. I think I know, but I want to hear it from someone else.
And I'm one of those that I've had to learn, and Steve has been a great teacher of, you've got to slow down and follow the protocols that are put in place, not just ask for forgiveness after. So again, I think part of what would help us, and maybe these things have not been established yet, and maybe we're thinking too much into it, is things like the goals and the mission and what sites are even considered by the town that fall under Parks and Rec. All those kinds of details that we're, between the three of us, have not been able to figure out those answers yet.
What really got me thinking about this is when a citizen said, this is what you're not supposed to do. And that came out right out of the box. And a citizen made the remark on a fog site that we were not there to build new parks or to decide where parks go and this and that. And I didn't think that was my objective being on this panel to begin with, but it got me thinking exactly what is it. Okay. I know we got a lot we're looking at here in town, a lot of opportunities. That's your level. That's your level. This level here, I think we need a clear definition of exactly what those expectations are of us right here. And we can take it and go. And we're willing to do that. Did I say that correctly?
Perfect.
Cody, you got anything you want to add?
No, I'm just kind of honestly going along till somebody tells me what to do.
Okay. So I guess give you something to think about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So, I think Pat had done a lot of research before he left. It's not on? It says it's on. How about that?
There you go, got it.
Pat had done a lot of research before he left, and I think he had a vision in his head. And Karen, you're probably the only person that has any idea what that was because you worked with him. As a council member, it wouldn't make sense for us to form another committee to help decide what you're supposed to do. You're a commission, and you were picked because of your experience in this area. So I would recommend that you all interact with your new director, and he's done a lot of research. Maybe he has some guidelines from commissions in other areas, that he could present to you, but I feel like you all were picked to create this. And you come up with what you're supposed to, what you feel like your job is, and talk to other leaders about it to see if it conforms, rather than asking us to tell you what to do.
Well, that's the reason I asked this question, and we talked about this. It was a little ambiguous. Now, if you want me to sit down and say, I know what the first thing I want to tackle is, it's rules and regulations pertaining to Torrey Park. After everything that's been going on here lately. Certainly can handle that. And I can, Karen,
Right.
Cody and I, whoever's going to be sitting in these other two seats.
And no offense, Karen, to,
So that was the one recommendation that I had emailed you all a while back, is to start looking at the town code of ordinances, because rules and regulations for all of the parks and beaches and all of the recreational things in the town of Colonial Beach is very chopped up.
It is.
It's all over the place.
I know where
So
we start.
if you guys could start working on that to get it more of a better flow, to where if somebody wants to look at it, it's all just written right there. It's not, you have to go to this chapter.
Yeah, and I think that's saying that what you just said, okay, then we understand a starting point,
right.
and that'll get us going. But I think that's the hard thing the thing we had, the hardest thing resolving, is where's the starting point? What hurdle do we go over first? It seemed like the track was going in a couple of different directions, and we weren't getting clear.
We're getting information, and again, I think,
Until you sent that, and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I apologize.
and then that isn't we didn't have you in this role, and we didn't have you in this role, and so we were kind of out in an abyss of, we always put a lot of energy and time into this in January and in February, only to feel like we then were totally pulled completely back and just didn't know what else.
And I
to
guess
kinda
without- Yeah, and I guess without Patrick being there, it kind of left a hole there. And we was kind of expecting Patrick to guide us through the first couple of months of this thing, and
Because I met with him and talked about it all, but I'm not in a governmental role to be able to know what the town expects in regard to this.
me and you, coffee tomorrow.
Heather, just if you could clarify, my understanding is that commissions make recommendation to council, and if anything needs to be changed in an ordinance or a rule, then council acts on it.
Correct.
But the commissions are put in place because of their expertise and knowledge to come up with these things, right?
Yep.
That's okay.
So that's why a recommendation was to just go through that, so that way you could present it to council of how you would want, like, how you thought it worked better. And then when you are going through that code of ordinance, also take in consideration of like the programs and things that you're gonna want to establish that will also need rules that have to be enforced.
Sure.
Because that's what the code of ordinance, it's enforceable rules.
Right. Well, and I guess one of the other things, myself, from my past experience of having worked with the City of Richmond Parks and Rec, and as I said, I know that's very different than here. I was always concerned about whoever took this job and took this role, that their expectations and what they were expected to do was very clear. Because, this town needs a lot of things, but I would hate for someone to get put in a role where all these things were expected of them that cost money, et cetera, and that it just not be a realistic thing. And that was part of our reason of wanting to be a support system for that person also. And that was, again, and I guess it rolls into the 7 and 5 and.
And you gotta keep in mind, this is a brand new commission. It's not like the planning commission that's been around here for eons and has they have set things that they work on, the comp plan
And
and
that
everything
comes
else.
from state code. That's not even a locality.
Well,
code,
no,
it's a
what I'm
state
trying,
code.
I'm just trying to equate one to the
Yeah.
other. It's just, this one is brand new. So we need to be, I hate to say it this way, have our hands held just a little bit until we can get on our feet.
Well, that,
So,
and that,
And do you understand, Kenneth?
Yes, sir.
So
Willing to hold your hand.
Okay. Well, and the other piece of it is everyone's expectation of what Parks and Rec is and who it's supposed to serve and what the most important thing that was supposed to happen yesterday is now. You go out here and we ask people, you're gonna get 20 different ideas. So I think I wanted, when we were talking about all this, for us to have some of those things nailed down so that we were all speaking the same language. And
Now, I know we're able to do work sessions. Is that something that we can plan for either,
yes, we
one of
can.
these coming months?
It's in here. We can plan work sessions and we can get with Heather to do that.
Notice has to
And that's
go
what we
out.
need to do. We don't need to be hashing all this out probably here. We need to be setting a work session for some of these items, which we can do, but we felt like it was appropriate before we get off on a rocky road, and especially since we have a new director, let's go ahead and address these issues if we can this evening, or at least get it out there. So, you know that we're not trying to rock anybody's boat. We just want to make sure that this boat goes on an even keel.
Well, I think Heather is probably your best source for advice because she talks to all of us. She talks to staff, she talks to council members. And her recommendation, I think, is a great one. That's a perfect job for a commission, is to go
Well, we'll be
through
with you.
and look at that ordinance, pull everything out. I'm sure she can help you if you don't know how to access that. And see all of it, because I know when I did that research for the dog park, right? Rules related to dogs are spread out all throughout the code, but there's a reason for it. There's rules relating to dogs on the beach. The beach has its own section. There's parks. The park has its own section, right? And then there's cruelty to animals and all that stuff that comes from state that has to be verbatim what it says in the state code. So it's not an easy job, but it's something that's important for Parks and Rec and to decide, what makes the most sense for the code that affects Parks and Recreation.
Okay, there was a gray area right there, the beach. Does that beach come under Parks and Recs or rules and regulations and things like that? Say if somebody comes up.
the volleyball court, for example.
They want to have a volleyball tournament down here, and we want to have a big event.
Yeah,
Okay, does that fall under the preview of this commission here about making sure the rules and the regulations for that beach area? Now, I've heard a couple things, that the beach area does not fall underneath the guidance of this group here. So
I don't
it doesn't,
know.
and
I can't
and so we
answer
need to
that.
find those things out.
man, just, my conversations that I had with the acting town manager at the moment led me to believe that Parks and Rec is basically any public open space theoretically within the town that folks use. So the beach, to answer your question, the beach would be. Now I will get clarity from Mr. Murphy, and that opinion may change in a couple of weeks, but that's what I was led to believe. And just in addition to the recommendations that you could make to council, if I was on the committee, I could go ham making recommendations to the town. Nobody says the town council could accept it or not accept your recommendations. Because the way I read it, and I compare it side by side to my job description, for instance, is I would tell you tomorrow at coffee, Steve, go find me $50,000 where we can do a bunch of cool things. And
I go ask Eric.
and I will run it through the town manager to make sure that when it comes to special events permits or anything like that, it's legal. We have the open space on the calendar, but I don't see why, Madam Councilwoman, maybe you could correct me, but you could make all the recommendations you want regarding Parks and Rec, and the council could accept them through Mr. Allison. You could okay it as far as code with Heather, and I could facilitate it through the town
No
manager.
different than the planning commission.
Right.
They make recommendations, it passes up to council. Now, we understand that portion of it. We just wanted to know.
So in your job description,
Mhm.
what would you say are the 5 biggest things that you've been tasked with?
I would
Obviously,
say that
grants
the,
and money.
correct, and that's always the thing.
Sure.
But I would say getting more use out of our parks and recreation facilities that we currently have.
Okay.
The Torrey Smith Park, for instance, is great because you can take your kids there, you can play tennis or pickleball, basketball, but it's big enough for someone to have a major event. And I alluded to that in my initial comments. There is a volunteer organization that is considering putting on a cornhole tournament at the end of the summer. And it would involve a lot of planning, obviously, and volunteers and things of that nature, but it would take up a pretty big portion of the park itself. Well, my job would be to walk them through the ABCs and making sure it's available and proper permitting and things of that nature. But we'd also have to consider closing off maybe the basketball goals while this goes on. So there's a lot of planning, but to list 5 things for you to do.
No, not for us, but we want,
It's from a Parks and Rec point of view.
yes, of what you're the 5 biggest things that you feel like you've been tasked with.
Well, I think that the number one would be the funding apparatus, because if I asked the council folks that are here to add an additional $20,000 for some sort of infrastructure, that's a pretty big chunk of money. So the element of the NGOs and donations and things of that nature, which when I read your bylaws falls right into your lap, for example. That's something you could work on starting tomorrow if you had the means to do it, or the means that people would offer that. Now, there are some unanswered questions that I can't give you about the 800-pound elephant in the room, which is Elmore Park, because I don't know exactly when that is going to be. I guess right now it's a park, but I don't know if you're allowed to have events there. But that is something that I hope to get squared away. So when someone says they want to hold a volleyball tournament, whether it be on the beach or at Eleanor Park, we're able to do that without any hesitations. And that could be a recommendation directly from this commission, that you recommend a certain type of event, limiting size and scope people, in conjunction with the town code. And I would certainly make that recommendation to council. Whether or not they accept it is to answer your question, Steve, in the long manner, I think you have the ability to make recommendations on just about everything where people hang out and have fun in town,
That's all I need.
with the exception of the bars.
That's all I need to know.
So,
All right,
am I incorrect in that?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
sounds good to me.
Can I ask one more question? And again, I don't mean to put you on the spot at all. Part of this is helping us clarify what we can do to help you
Right.
in regard to moving forward. And again, it's your first week or second week and a half, whatever. The other thing that has come up often in regard to this is the whole transparency piece of things, and how do we get the citizens involved and their opinions, and so is putting together a survey or something like that something that this commission could do collectively with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I don't know, because it's so brand new.
Sure.
You're gonna get a wide swath of opinions on where we should go with it. But again, if someone gave me the opportunity to just read your objectives, man, I could think of a bunch of cool things that we could try and do. And again, whether the town, whether it's legal or the town accepts it, is another situation, which that's Mr. Allison's job now to lobby on behalf of
We have town
you
clerk who
folks.
can run things fine.
I want to remind you that the planning commission did a town hall on parks just a few months ago. I would definitely reach out to Vicky and get all the notes on that,
Yeah, that's a great
because
idea.
that's your citizen input right there.
And I think just making ourselves maybe a little more real or imagined, there's an opinion in town, like I said, I don't know if it's true or not, because most of the folks that I've reached out to have been very responsive. But the first thing you hear about on social media is, so-and-so didn't get back to me from the town. And like I said in my remarks, I'm gonna get back to them as quickly as possible. I had a couple of complaints that literally the day I sat at the chair about the Torrey Smith Park, for example. You just have to just respond, and if you're open, and we talk about the committee in a positive way, or commission in a positive way, maybe the room will be full next month, next time we have. But I think a survey would be great because it might be just, just to gauge, where we're going. But, I think you guys have a really cool job, to be honest with you. You can come up with all the cool stuff you want.
But I think you've given us some direction just by just what you've said here, Steve. That's
Yeah.
all I need to know.
I will double check again, Steve, with the beach aspect of it.
No, that was just one thing, Bobby. I mean, it's just like when you bring up Eleanor Park. I've heard going into this position, there's certain things that we don't address. And so I wanted clarity on that.
Yeah.
I know where I want to go.
Right.
I know what I want to see done. I know what I'd like to.
I do have an update on the Eleanor Park grant that was submitted.
Right, and I was going
And
to,
so it was in the council's priority list to pursue a conservation easement grant if it became available on Eleanor Park. And that has been worked on by multiple people, and it was submitted and accepted yesterday.
and
so
there's
now-
other
now they will-
things going on.
They'll make that announcement, or they'll make that announcement of awards, and then it'll be up to council whether or not to accept the award that they
Yeah,
make.
absolutely. Okay, I think we got our starting point.
Thank you all very much. Again,
That's all we
you're
need.
just, this helps.
See, Dave, that's all I needed.
Oh, and let me apologize. Those folks did not make me aware of the fact that they were actually going to come. I'm glad they did because they have a really cool thing that they're trying to do, but,
Yeah, I didn't know who it was.
But,
I
yeah, we-
had no idea.
yeah, I think Heather and I talked about, we never got confirmation that the gentleman and his friend were gonna be here, so we apologize. Otherwise, we would
That's all right.
have been a little bit
It's-
longer.
As we go forward, I mean, I think we're gonna have more protocol and decorum here, not just letting people stand up there and go on and on and on and on. And I have no
You can
problem
have,
with what
you
you're
can
saying.
have, both citizen input is one thing, but you can also allow people to contact you to make
We
presentations.
can do
Make it a
that,
little
and
round.
this was a citizen input thing, and I wasn't aware that they were gonna give on a presentation.
Right.
And I think that's where we kind of all of a sudden, we're sitting there going, when do we open up here, Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, so now back to the agenda. Tab A, the discussion of Parks and Recreation bylaws.
Okay, now this for
This is,
Yeah, if I can jump in on tab A. So what I did was I took the Parks and Rec thing we received from county council and then used the planning commission's bylaws to kind of draft bylaws that would look like ours. And it looks like Heather has updated the number of people on that first page of tab A. I'm not sure if that's still standing or if that needs to be adjusted back now.
I think we need to address,
I
is
think
this
we need
the
to address
time I
that too.
think we need to address the resignation?
because we were not aware of that
We
either.
were not aware of all this. We need to, I would like to make a motion that we accept, this commission accepts Melinda's resignation and present that to council at tomorrow night's council meeting. And for the pleasure of council to make a decision. Okay,
So the resignation of,
Melinda.
Melinda, what's her last name? I can't pronounce it. What's her last name?
Goodrow.
Goodrow. She's decided she can't serve on the commission. So that changes the need, as I brought up earlier, to change this from a 7-person board and keep it at 5. We have 2 applications that we would like to see both of those individuals fill the 2 vacant seats that are on this commission. So I guess
Did you
What
make a
are-
motion?
Do we motion?
I make a motion that we accept Melinda's resignation. Number 1.
I second it.
vote on that first.
Yes.
I second the motion.
All those
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. I also make a motion to amend our request to go
Do
ahead.
you want to make a motion to have them appoint the 2 members?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get to that.
Okay.
Okay, I want to change this first.
Yeah.
I make a motion to amend our original request to change this from a 5-person commission to a 7-person commission and keep it at 5.
So
I'll
you're
make that
just
motion.
withdrawing that request.
I'm withdrawing that request. I'll make a motion to withdraw.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And thirdly, I make a motion to appoint the 2 applicants that we had originally for the 2 vacant seats now on this commission.
And their names on.
And, Eileen Heath and Philip. What?
Say it.
Say
Yes,
it.
Fletcher?
Yeah, she has it.
Yes.
Fletcher.
You were sitting out there, I could have asked you. I didn't even see, you were sitting behind Eric and I couldn't see you.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Okay?
I second the motion.
All in favor?
All right. Now, tomorrow, since she's chairperson, she'd make that.
You report it
You
though.
could have,
You report, you
you
can.
could write something up tonight for notes for Kenny, and he can say that this has been withdrawn, what's on our agenda tomorrow, and request that they give.
And I'd like those applicants to be seated immediately. So we can get this thing running. Is that great? I just speaking for myself.
Yeah, no.
I didn't speak for the other two.
Yeah,
That's
so
perfect.
she said, just provide me some notes that I can bring to council, and I can initiate that and initiate the 2 appointees.
Cody, can you send them that? Will you send them
Yeah.
that? Okay,
Yeah.
Cody will send that to you.
I will get that.
Thank you.
And maybe we should ask one more time. Are you 2 still okay with that?
Yeah.
Kenny? Okay, got it. All right.
Thank you.
I didn't want to nominate you, then you just sit there, I don't want to do that anymore.
They want to introduce themselves to Kenny.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bobby?
Eileen and Philip.
Oh,
I think first.
Yeah, Eileen.
oh.
We just wanted you all to introduce yourselves. and-
If you would just introduce yourself.
Just stand here.
You have to be put in by town council first, so.
Hi, I'm Eileen Joyce Heath, and I think most of you never know me, except for Bob you, but I know you. So I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Phil Fessmacher. I'm excited to join. I do a lot of volunteering, coaching for the last 8, 9, 10 years of Parks and Rec over in King George, and I'm happy to be part of Parks and Rec in my own town now, rather than driving 45 minutes to
All right.
do anything. I'm excited to, I have some good ideas, and I'm excited to work with you, Mr. Duke, and all y'all as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
I thank you both for standing up, volunteering to do this. I really do, this means a lot.
All right, Steve, since Cody's the one that did this, can you go ahead and finish?
Yeah, if we go back to, there are a few things, the things that are marked in green are things that I wasn't 100% sure if they were the purview of our, not council, committee. And then the blue are additions that I put in. So on the second page there, I'm not sure, and I need to fix the spelling, President. If we are able to appoint committees, that is something that came from the planning commission.
I think those are committees within our commission, right?
No, so you guys would actually more mirror like the Memorials Advisory Commission. Because I was looking, and the planning commission is a state requirement. So all of the code sections are from state level. They're not even from the locality. So a lot of the stuff you guys aren't required to do. A lot of what the planning commission is required to do.
Okay, so can we pretty much strike that section from, let's see, it would be section 5, part A, sections 2 through 8,
But you still want to have something in there about the officers and the duties of your officers. And would you rather have a secretary, or would you rather have a clerk like the planning commission where it's an employee of the town?
Is that, again, that was a question that I
You
had when
can
we
do
had
that.
access.
You can change that, and then that would have to be changed in the ordinance. So if you want to change it to that, instead of one of you being a secretary, having it just like the planning commission where Kathleen is the clerk of the planning commission and she takes the minutes. So it's up to you
Which one
guys
do we
how you
want?
want to do that.
I thought we were on.
So we moved to
Which would mean I would be the
clerk.
clerk.
Right.
Are we on?
So you'd be the one in charge of
See.
recording and taking minutes. And then number 4, meetings, a lot of A and B, a lot of that is just needs to be rewritten a little bit because it's referencing code that goes to the planning commission and state code. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So just remove the code.
yeah, you can remove that and I don't think you have to really be stuck to what they're required. So you can look
Oh,
at,
we're back on page 2.
We're back on.
So underneath,
Okay.
4, Ivy.
you would be better referencing 2.2-3707, meetings to be public, notice of meetings, recordings, and minutes. That has more of what you're required to do for meetings, a generalization of it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I thought we was down here in this.
We have been. We bounced back.
You bounced back, you moved over.
So let's see, so the appointing committees is gone.
Yeah, just keeping the preside on all meetings, that's good. And then number 9. So getting rid of all that is fine.
Okay.
For chairperson and the vice chairperson was good. And then like for C, if you want to change it to clerk instead of secretary.
And then if we change it to clerk, would we keep all the green?
You keep
Section.
1, 2, 3, and 5. Because you also don't need to have public hearings, like
Okay.
planning commission, because you're not changing any zoning ordinances. You're not making recommendations for that. And then just provide town council reports and recommendations to the commission.
Okay. And then
For the
part 7 on committees.
Yeah, you can
Would be
scratch all that out.
Okay.
Because I mean,
Okay, I'm
you're gonna be working with NGOs, so.
This is not the same thing. So there's no.
And then hearings, again, so on 8, part B,
Right, you can scratch all that out.
scratch all that.
Mhm. And then you can make number 2, the orders of business for regular meeting. That's how you're gonna want your agenda set up. So when you guys were discussing where you wanted citizen input, then you can make up how you want your agenda done.
Is that number 2?
Yep, A2. And I think that's all the notes I had. Everything else looks good.
Okay, and then the last part underneath protocol specifics, A to the blue there. I added this in, I don't know if it was redundant from what was already there. The commission may respond to issues identified by the public which require no additional research or investigation by a majority consensus of the members. That's just saying that we may respond if we feel that we can respond to something that the public
I'm
has said.
opposed to getting into any dialogue or your public comment. You open up a Pandora's box sometimes if you do that.
I can remove that if I'd like.
I think your public comment is just that, you give an individual 3 minutes to express themselves, and if that's an issue, then we tell them we'll get back with them. And that's how it's supposed to, you get into a dialogue with them, it could go on forever and could get ugly, and we don't want that. Okay, recommend not doing it.
Okay.
And then since you're not obligated to do public hearings, you can just cross out the public hearing protocol.
Public hearing protocol.
Okay.
So we're not obligated to do that?
I talked to the attorney and she said, no, I looked through all code sections, no public hearings. Okay.
Work section, I think that was all fine. Did we want to discuss changing the attendance section on part 10? 10A.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Karen? Maybe you can help me out on this. my understanding was the way this is worded, it says that an individual that misses 3 consecutive meetings, cannot miss more than 3 consecutive meetings
Unless notified.
unless notified by letter of absence. But the way I read it, it said you could miss 3 as long as you made the 4th. You're okay. My understanding in the past is that 3 consecutive meetings put you in a position where you could be asked to leave the commission.
Yeah, it doesn't say more than 3. It says commission members who have missed 3 consecutive regular meetings without contacting the chairperson or secretary will be notified by letter of their absences.
If more than 3 consecutive meetings are missed,
It doesn't say,
that's right down to the next line down. If more than 3 consecutive meetings are missed, it means that if you miss 4, then you are eligible to be dismissed or asked to leave, replaced. That's my stumbling block.
more than 3, okay, it's kind of, yeah, so after 3, you get notified.
And then
And
at
when you
4,
miss the
we-
4th, you all can recommend to have it go.
At the end of 3, though, you could be recommended, but it says, the way this is worded, it
No, it
it's
just says
kind of-
after 3, they get notified of their absences, saying, hey, if you miss one more, that's the way it reads.
Or what do you think it should be changed to?
well,
You can at any time, you know, if you all are not happy with
Oh,
the
absolutely.
performance of your member, you can at any time, you know, ask the council.
well, I think somebody that misses 3 meetings in a row is showing, I don't know, disrespect is too harsh a word, but is showing not a great want to sit on the commission. And I think if you miss 3 meetings in a row, we need to make a move. I don't see that happening, but I don't want a gray area in there where it says, I missed 3, but it says here that after 3, so I can come back on the 4th and keep on going. So I've disrupted 3 meetings in a row and kind of don't really care, but you can't do anything with it.
What do you?
So we need to make sure that it's clear.
Like you said, I think we can pretty much make the recommendation, so if someone has missed at all, we can say,
Just
we'd like them removed, so.
Just leave it like this. I'm fine with that.
You guys can change the language on all of this the way you want it
Yeah.
to say. If you want it to be more clear, you can change the language to make it more clear.
Is there something you'd like to add in there?
What's that?
Is there something you'd like to change to make it?
Just make it clear. Just make it
Okay.
so it's clear and not say
So
something.
don't just take out the more than then.
Yeah, we can just take
Just
out the
take out the
more
more
than, yeah,
than, and then,
if your consecutive meetings are missed. Okay.
And did you guys want to add in language about holding meetings electronically? Just in case?
I think just in case,
Yeah,
that might not be a bad thing to do.
I can send you what we have in our bylaws, how it's written. I'll
Okay.
send it to you.
And then the blue that I added
That was a question I had. That gives them the ability, because the other thing was, you cannot vote by email, regular mail, or anything like that. But in electronic, like you were on here electronically during one meeting, you can vote electronically, and that's
Through
okay.
Zoom.
Okay, yeah.
Or
Okay,
I
we need
think
to do
it
that.
even has by telephone, I think it's Zoom and telephone. Like, as long as you can hear the person.
Okay,
I'll have
As
to
long
look
as
at
the
the bylaws
public, as
again.
long as the public can hear it.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Yep.
so if they're on a speakerphone and we can all hear and verify that's who it is, we're okay. And it's not their 15-year-old kid sitting in for them. Okay.
Okay, and then the last thing, in section 11 there, I added the blue at the bottom. This was to make sure that we are held responsible for communicating our bylaw modifications to the town council. Modifications of bylaws approved by the commission shall be submitted for consideration at the next available town council meeting. So, Okay, fine. I think that was all the changes I had, and then, so I guess I need to put this together before we vote on approving it, and I'm not sure.
Make sure it says next available regular town council meeting.
Regular, okay.
Because you guys are the meeting, your day is right before our work session. So that would be too soon to have it added to the agenda. So for the regular meeting.
Right, okay. Okay,
Cody, thank you so much
you're welcome.
for doing that. Then, tab B, do we need to do anything with that?
Do we need to, can we approve it with the modifications? Or do we need to wait until it's put together? I'm not sure.
Heather,
Can we approve this with the modifications, or do we need
Do
to
we
wait till
it's
it's?
typed up?
You can approve, I would, because you have to change so much language, I would probably just wait.
Okay.
And then do it.
Item B is planning commission, you're talking about item B?
No,
No,
before
we were just
that.
talking about item, tab A, and can we approve it with the changes, or should we just wait until the next meeting to approve the bylaws?
I would bring a clean copy.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, so then we don't need to do anything with tab B.
tab B is just, for reference, because that is the planning commission's bylaws.
Okay. Okay. So I guess we're on B now, discussion amendments article of the Parks and Rec Advisory Commission. Tab C, I guess, is the current code.
And then so-
Yeah, tab B is current.
Let's see, so that is, the amendments look like it's just the 7-person versus the 3-person.
Oh,
So you could just withdraw that, you don't need to do anything, you can just.
So we can just withdraw.
Withdraw.
Yeah.
Withdraw that. Since you already gave instructions to Kenny to withdraw.
If you want to change the secretary, it is in the ordinance, if you want to change it from secretary to clerk.
okay.
And then the duties and who the officer and who the clerk officers.
Okay.
So 2134, 2135, which need adjusting. And then the bylaws, constitution of bylaws. So you would want to change those two sections. 134 and 135.
And I think that was it on that. So we would withdraw and then change, secretary to clerk.
Different, and have it to where on 135, it reads that the clerk shall keep records of the commission and minutes from the monthly meetings and shall be an employee of town staff. Should be what it says.
Okay.
Okay, Heather, are we where we need to be with all these things now?
Hmm?
Are we where we need to be with all these items
I
and
think
papers?
And the public advertisement for the Parks and Rec Commission amendment to go in front of council was very like general and vague. So these can be changed at the public hearing and be presented tomorrow for the discussion of what was changed in code. Because what was discussed tonight would have been what was brought up tomorrow.
He's gonna code.
Yeah, I'll write it up.
Yeah, he took the notes and is gonna send it to Kenny.
Cool.
So I will be here.
for support, moral.
Okay, Steve, do you have anything else?
No. I think
Bobby,
So, yeah,
Heather? Kenny? Karen?
I just want to thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with you for 2 months. And I'm happy, not happy, but privileged to turn it over to the superintendent. If you need anything, you know how to find me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
And thank you for our new. Yep, we are adjourned.
We are adjourned. Thank you, Bob.
Was that-